Rights of Indigenous people says we have the right to our lands back, rights to our resources back, and the state shall take effective measures in ensuring that we get our shit. And in certain cases, they'll take special measures, which means they're supposed to fund certain projects. Unfortunately, in order for international law to be enforced, it has to be enforced between nations. So, fortunately and unfortunately, it's unfortunate because our people think that they're black, and that they're Indian, and that they're Spanish. But you can't claim immemorial blood ties to a word Indian, which only applied to our ancestors in 1492 and further, not further back, but further forward. So to claim any type of immemorial connection to the word Indian, it would be dishonor to your mothers and fathers, your ancestors. To claim to be black, which is a Middle English word which took root in the 1100s, and it means pale. So to call yourself pale as a national identity is further dishonor. Spanish is a language, not a nationality. So in order to enforce international law, you gotta have a nationality, don't you? That's why in law the first issue is status, because your nationality establishes your political status in regards to your rights or to your capacity to call into force your rights. The common law, international law, commercial law. And Article 6 of the Constitution states all contracts and debts entered into before the adoption of the Constitution shall be valid against the United States as in the Confederation, and all pretty much agreements made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land. And Obama signed the Rights of Indigenous People after he came back from Egypt, and he announced that the Constitution is derived from Muslim law, that's the Iroquois law of the Great Peace, and that the first nation to recognize his country, which is the United States, was Morocco, which is us. So that's, and that can be found in George Washington's letter to the Sultan of Morocco, 1789, which is after the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, 1786, 1787, which predates the Constitution. So it's kind of like, we're Moors, this is our shit. And to get us out of that political knowledge and platform, they made us give up our birthright, like Esau and Jacob. So once we stop calling ourselves by our free national name, our land gets abandoned. And in trust law, if an heir is not competent, mentally, or they're an infant, then the land goes back to the state. It'd be a conversion, and it's called escheating. But once an heir, competent heir, makes claim to the estate, which is Rights of Indigenous People says we have the right to, then it goes back to the heir by reversion. You don't need to pay for it. You don't need to ask nobody for shit, because the Rights of Indigenous People declares that it's ours already. Well, we already knew it was ours. And for those of you who question whether it applies to quote-unquote black people, if you read the Inter-American Declaration on Indigenous People under definitions, the alternative definition number 1, it states those who were falsely brought over here due to colonial occupation, which black people claim to be taken from Africa, even though 90% of us are already here. The Rights of Indigenous People applies to you. So once you claim, but it states that you have to connect yourself back with a culture and heritage, etc., because nationalities, which determines your political status. It's pretty much saying, who do you have allegiance to? Do you have allegiance to your own people, or do you not? So what the Rights of Indigenous People is, it's the modern day 40 acres and a mule. So you hear a lot of black people talk about reparations, which means to repair a nation, and that 40 acres and a mule type thing was set up by Abraham Lincoln in 1864 because he knew that we're Moors. And you can find that in his William Dungy case, when he defended William Dungy the Moor, and he established for the record that he was a Moor, not black. Abraham Lincoln, knowing the problems that we had, set up the Freedmen's Bureau, or the Bureau of Refugees, Abandoned Land, and Freedmen. And it was set up to fund stuff like this, abandoned lands, and the freedmen on that land, to help them cultivate, set up businesses, etc. And that's exactly what the Rights of Indigenous People does. If you read it you just gotta know what to look for. Article 21, I believe, states that the state shall take effective measures in making sure we get our shit up. And it discusses housing. It talks about political issues, which is your nationality. It talks about the right to educate your own people. I think I mentioned housing already, but if you're in the Providence area, there's a bunch of like abandoned houses that no one's working on. And don't believe that bullshit where they don't have money because they're funding wars. So they have no money. And it's just paper. It's not real money anyway. That's the fake bank holiday, 1933, where they took all the gold, which is the real money, and gave us paper instead. Also, rights of indigenous people says we have the right to access our coastlines and all that kind of stuff, because you can't own water. You can't even actually own land. But what we can do is administrate our land. That's, just pass it down generationally. That's called wealth. And since we keep abandoning our estate, the land, that's why the Europeans have so much family wealth. And since we give up that and we give up our gold, and they control the paper money, they control the wealth. And you can find that in Executive Order 11490, Rex 84, which is it's like a exercise. I can't remember exactly what it is, but you can look it up. But here's the water. It's just up to you, us, to enforce your rights, because no one's gonna do it for you. Why would any foreign nation enforce another nation's rights when that nation should be doing it for itself? That's kind of what actually not kind of, that's exactly what Malcolm X was talking about, the separation. And there's nothing wrong with separation. Actually, the desegregation is what caused a lot more of the problems, because then we stopped providing for ourselves when we wanted what the European had to offer. That's the worshiping the idol gods of Rome, who you know nothing about. It's kind of like, how about you provide for yourself and then you'll be good. And that's the principle of nationality, providing for self. Because then once you provide for self, you provide for others of your nation. So once the community gets on this, helping each other out, then we'll fucking help each other out. But peace. Study, study, study. And if you would ask me what to study next, I'd reply, study yourselves. Study Noble Draw Lee's the truth. Rights of indigenous people. Peace. Like they rename our shit so that they get jurisdiction over it. Like this land is not called Rhode Island. You know what I mean? But as long as the natural people, as long as we keep calling it that, that lets them administrate it, because that's theirs. It's theirs. You know what I mean? They incorporated Rhode Island. Like that's their shit. But that's part of the game.
Who's they?
The colonial occupiers. So the immigrants, the European immigrants that came here, they started to rename shit in their favor. That old saying, you can't transact business in another man's name, so as long as we keep saying, as long as we keep their European last names and all that kind of stuff, then it stays in their trust, in their family trust. And that's how they continue to administrate our stuff. But right now we're about to go to the land that I did a quick claim deed on, and I transferred the ownership back to me. And I was there since November, and what they did was November of last year, and they put this fence up right here. And you'll notice it says state property right here. But if you look up the definition of the word state in the law dictionary, they'll say a collection of people. So the people are actually the state. But if you look at the spelling, they put a capital S, so that makes it a corporation. So they're saying that the corporate state owns it, when it actually doesn't. But we need to know that, you know what I mean? And here's the land right here, 9.8 acres. They're trying to sell it for $7 million, But since the rights of indigenous people says we have the right to our land back, we can't buy back something that's already ours. So what you do is you do a quick claim deed and you transfer the estate back over to you. Still rolling?
Yep.
Alright, so like I said, I've been here since November last year, and me and my little sister and a few of my friends, and Cyrus and his brother and my friend Jared, they've been helping me out. There's some garbage bags here because we were trying to clean some stuff up because there's like trash around. You can see like these logs are from Roger Williams Park. Like me and my sister, I have footage of that too. We loaded up all these logs in my car, brought them here and laid them out. And the leaves and stuff and wood chips are from like a lot of like the landscaping places. Like they just chop down trees from like the wires and stuff in people's backyards, and I'll walk up to them and say, hey, can you drop this off on this land because I'm trying to develop it for some food. And normally they have to pay to drop this stuff off. So why not come here? There's 9.8 acres that I need to cultivate for food, so why not bring it here for free and we can just build like that. So all of this stuff is free. I mean, I had to pay for plastic bags and shit, but that's nothing. So this was gonna be like herbs, like lemon balm, lavender and stuff like that. But other stuff started to grow first. That fence has been closed most of the time. And that's why I sent the letter to get them to open it during business hours. A lot of this stuff was already just growing, and I put the leaves on top of it, but it just stopped. A lot of stuff is mugwort. I put peppers here. You want to take a shot of this? Here's where I put peppers. And I put bricks where I put stuff. I put more peppers here. I put boards right here. Here's where I put peppers. So here's what I'm working with. Like I said, they're trying to sell this for $7 million. There's water right there. The sun rises over there, that's the east. And it gets sunlight all day, every day. So we can put greenhouses on here. And we could literally feed the community. Like they have like a lot of programs like the Southside Community Land Trust, that's where I went to learn how to farm. But all that stuff is going through their programs, and then they still have ownership of the land and stuff like that. But once you do a quick claim deed and transfer the title into an allodial title, then you don't have to pay anyone to be on your own property. You don't have to get building permits, none of that stuff. You just have to know what you're doing. And that's pretty much where I'm trying to take this, to where like anyone who doesn't know how to grow food can just come here. They don't have to pay, because it's not about money to me. It's about teaching people how to sustain themselves. And this is a lot of land, so like a lot of people can come here and grow their own food and not have to pay for a human necessity. As long as we take care of it, the land will take care of us. And it's all relatively free. It's just you reap what you sow, so you either put in the work or you don't. And obviously you can tell someone has been putting in the work, and that someone is me. It's just they try to stop me by putting up the fence and saying it's state property. But where there's a will, there's a way, you know what I mean? And that ain't stopping me. Oh, here's some peas that grew. I'm not sure if it's actually like ready to eat. Tastes like peas. A lot of this stuff kind of died because I haven't been able to take care of it because they shut me out. It is what it is. Oh yeah, So I kind of try to lay down sticks and stuff, so like it holds moisture better, so I don't have to always water it as often. And a lot of this is just like mixed leaves. Like all of this is leaves. All of it. But what I'm trying to do is get dirt so we can mix it with the leaves, so things will grow better. And that's why over there with the wood chips, I did it so, because I didn't do that. I didn't put the wood chips down first over here.
Doing that shit.
Huh?
Keep doing that.
I know, it's fucking working.
All I gotta do is pick it up and grow it. It's like covered.
I was gonna move a lot of the leaves on that, because the wood chips will hold water way better than the leaves will, because of wood. That's a state vehicle. Here's the wood chips that I put. So like I said, it's just like landscaping companies. They just cut down wood, and it can be used for agriculture. It just maintains water. So anything that they have to like pay to dispose, as long as it's not like tainted with chemicals, it can come here and it can be used to grow organic food for people. And it'll be us taking care of our own, so we wouldn't have to go to Walmart or any other store where the food is all like full of chemicals. And it's obvious once you grow like your own tomatoes and you compare it to something that's in like the stores, there's a huge difference. It tastes different, it looks different, it even smells different. It feels different too. Well, yeah. That's cool.
With the ladies.